What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Friday Night Lights. We're going to have a pretty quick episode for you guys today. There actually hasn't been an update on how a lot of the quarterbacks have done this weekend, so we won't have that, but we will definitely look here in a minute at how the top 25 matchups went for this weekend. As always, we have roughly this week a little bit shorter than usual. Try to do 8 to 10 minutes of highlights this week. We've got about 4, but with some really good players in there. So let's jump in really quick and talk about the top 25 matchups again that went on this weekend. Again, St. John Bosco will actually have a Pierce Clarkson highlight here in a little bit. Continues to roll as they win 49-3 against Servite. Again, continuing to be the number one team in the nation. Mater Dei wins a little bit of a closer matchup, 21-13 against Sierra Catholic. Central Miami beats North Miami Beach fairly badly, 41-0. They stay as the number 4 ranked team. Buford, which was actually on ESPN, Justice Haynes with a couple touchdowns, leave 133 yards on the ground in this game. 23-3 over Collins Hill. They'll remain the number 7 ranked team in the nation. Bishop Gorman routes Canyon Springs 58-0. Chandler, Arizona, Dylan Rayola, 59-27 over Red Mountain on Friday. North Shore beats King 38-3. Westlake in Austin, Texas just takes it to Del Valley 73-7. Massive game for them, including Jaden Greathouse, who I believe had multiple returns. He's just really good on special teams. The punt return, I believe, also a kickoff return as well. IMG remained they were on a bye week this week. American Heritage down in Florida beats number 25 Cardinal Gibson 21-2. The Cardinal Gibbon somehow gets a safety in this one. They're going to obviously continue to remain ranked. Denton Geyer, Jackson Arnold. We don't have one of his highlights tonight, but if you want to see some, David, who you can follow at Solving Football, I know posted a couple of his throws, 56-7 over Boyd. Those are really the main top matchups of the week. So that is really it. South Lake Carroll, actually, though, I do want to mention, has now moved up into the top 24 in the nation. They are the number 24th team, but they were on a bye this week. So something we'll continue to monitor. Obviously, they've produced a lot of high-end players, not just into college football, but also into the NFL. Beau Edmondson is a quarterback that I saw at the Dallas Regional that I kind of marked as an interesting prospect. Hasn't been having the greatest of seasons, but he's been pretty good. So he's a player that we'll continue to watch now moving forward. Let's throw on the highlights here for this week. And we're going to start with running back out of Michigan, Cole Cabana here. Now, these are straight from Huddle, and he can do it all, man. Not just a kick returner, but he also is a very good running back. You'll see a couple special teams highlights for him here. He's ranked fairly highly for me. He's actually in my top 10. However, the Dexter running back, Dexter is the high school that he plays for. In Michigan, he's listed at 6'180". I don't know that he's that big, but he is incredibly fast. We've got him at over 21 miles per hour on in our mile per hour database. So he's a very intriguing prospect, also good receiving back as well. I had a highlight of him last week or 2 weeks ago where he was literally hurdling a standing defender. So we know he's got explosion. These highlights here run for a minute here on him. So once those are done, we'll talk about the next player. We've got a lot of quarterback highlights today. So here we go with Trey Holly. He is also a guy that is fairly highly ranked for us, not necessarily highly ranked on 24/7 Sports, or I believe even in the composite. We're going to double check that really quick. But the Union Parish running back in Louisiana, Farmville, Louisiana. So he's RB16 in the composite. So fairly highly ranked. 3-star though on 24/7 Sports is RB40. He is a 4-star in the composite. We have him, I believe almost all of us have him in our top 12. Now he is a little bit smaller, 5'8", 180. You'll see him. Why, this dude can move, as you can see through this highlight right here, as he just kind of takes it to the house. Had an amazing weekend. Might talk about him a little bit later here to end the show. Here's another one of his great runs. Over 300 yards in this game, at least 306 rushing yards, 5 touchdowns. Trey Holly is now the all-time leading rusher in Louisiana State history, as in like any running back who has ever played in the state of Louisiana. he now has more rushing yards than all of them. So congratulations to him. And I will spoil it right now. He is actually going to be our high school player of the week for week 6. Just a great performance again, over 300 yards on the ground, 5 touchdowns, and breaking that record. So congratulations to him. Dante Dowdell makes the highlight reel again. I believe this is 3 or 4 weeks in a row with just another long touchdown. What is insane to me on Dante Dowdell here is we actually don't have him that fast. I believe the highest or the fastest we've caught him at has been at like 20.4 or 20.5 miles per hour, which is not blazing, yet he still continues to get these just huge runs. This one here for 98 yards. And as I've talked about before with these, unfortunately, these are automated cameras, as you can see them moving back and forth. So sometimes we unfortunately don't get to catch the entire highlight on these. Maybe one day the high school football games will get to a point where they have actual cameramen controlling them. But with the automated ones, like we actually had some, I have one, but we had 2 Arch Manning highlights. And unfortunately, the automated camera was like, typically they will follow somewhat, just very slowly the action. They kind of look for movement. For whatever reason, it kept picking up the crowd, and the camera literally moved away from what was going on in the place. So you don't even really get to see it. So I did not put that on here. Here is Shelton Samson. He is one. We actually just did a video on him. Top recruit in this class who actually committed to Florida State, which was a little bit surprising. Really thought he was going to go to Texas. So here is his again, this is what he is. He is a great wide receiver, contested catch monster, can create separation at the line. Here is Micah Hudson. He is a favorite of one big wide receiver guy who you can follow on Twitter, Matt Powell, at big wide receiver guy. Micah Hudson. So he is wide receiver 4 in the 2024 class, currently for 24/7 Sports, number 2 in the composite, 5-star in the composite. Obviously, this video quality is not the greatest. It's kind of what you get, unfortunately, sometimes with high school games, but just look at him evading tackles and getting here into the end zone. I mean, kid is absolutely fantastic. Matt has been on him for a while. Finally was able to get one of his highlights in here. Again, a 2024 guy, so we're not going to see him this year. Most of the time we talk about 2023 guys, except for, the few times we've talked about Dylan Raiola with some of his incredible highlights. Here is the top tight end in the nation in Deuce Robinson. He is, I think he's going to be special. He plays at Pinnacle High School in Arizona. He is yet to commit. It seems like there was a lot of reports he was probably going to go to Texas. The crystal balls are now leaning toward USC. So we'll see if he stays close to home. Obviously, again, plays in Arizona. Here is a touchdown from him this weekend. That's just great, right? You don't expect a tight end to be burning DBs on like go routes down the field. Great catch. So right here, we've got Malachi Nelson, top quarterback in the class, just a beautiful touch throw. He's amazing, right? We already know that. Here's another one, too. His teammates going to USC, Makai Lemon. Again, just incredible throws here. We know how great both these guys are going to be, but just wanted to put those in there. I feel like it's been a while since we had some Malachi Nelson highlights. My QB1 in the class. I'm pretty sure he's our consensus QB1 in the class at campus to Canton. Here's Austin Novosad. Again, he's a guy that I really like. Not necessarily a special highlight, but not necessarily a very special highlight here for him, but I like to put, anytime I can get one of his clips in here, I'm going to put him in because I think he's going to be a special player. All right, so here's Pierce Clarkson right now. So with Pierce Clarkson here, you're going to see him. This is a trick play by St. John Bosco, which is insane to think about, right? Because they are so good. I just mentioned they won 59-3, number 1 team in the nation. But let's watch what happens with Pierce Clarkson. He's actually one of the top 2 quarterbacks this week to have receiving touchdowns. Avery Johnson, the other, who we'll show in a minute. So here's one of Arch's, and again, automated camera, as you can see here. We actually don't, unfortunately, get to see the touchdown, but nice velocity on that throw from Arch there, right? I mean, the camera you see is just moving back and forth and then just stops right there. Unfortunately, that did turn into a touchdown. Avery Johnson, he is a favorite of Alfred's, David's, and Matt's. Fairly high the rank for me as well. I believe he's QB 13, so he's right on the cusp of being a QB 12 for me, and he might get better. Reports are, from what David has told us, is that he's actually looked really good, a little bit better passing. That was kind of the question about him, extremely athletic. Here is his actual receiving touchdown on the day, where they do almost the same play as St. John Bosco. Right now, watch him. He is athletic. Just leaves the guys in the dust there at the end. Avery Johnson, really good. Not only had a receiving touchdown, which you guys just watched right there, but he also had a rushing and a passing touchdown. So here's Nico Yamalava, the one of the top quarterbacks in the nation for the composite, most of the websites here. I just want you to watch this throw. Like, I hate to nitpick, but this just is a weird motion on this throw. Watch the ball. It's almost like it was spinning sideways. I don't want to hate on it too much because he is considered a top quarterback for a reason. Here's another throw of his. I believe he had 5 touchdowns on the night. That was actually a really good throw in my opinion. Really good touch on that. But still, good game for Nico. Here is a sleeper of ours. So I had dropped some highlights of him on Friday. I was watching his game. I wish I could take credit for this kid because he is extremely exciting to watch. But this is a David special right here. He told all of us about him about a week ago. Sam Levitt, listed 6'1", 185. So he's QB 47 on 24/7 Sports and a 3-star, QB 41 in the composite and a 3-star. And he's currently committed to Washington State. That part of it we already love, right? Washington State, we know likely once he gets the job, high-flying offense, going to pass the ball up. I just want you guys to watch what he can already do with his arm and his legs here. Now, I know that's a little bit of a floater there, but to be able to throw that moving backwards off your back foot, I think is spectacular. And then I just want you to watch this touchdown right here. Same thing. I mean, creating plays. Like, you obviously don't want him to do that all the time. Kind of, creating or just scoring his touchdowns out of structure like that off of weird plays a la Patrick Mahomes, which is what people are going to say about him. But I do like it. Like, I think the fact that he can improvise that way and score touchdowns and get passing touchdowns is actually really good. And guess what? We were hoping that this was going to happen. It has been updated as we were talking about the highlights. So we will run through the top quarterbacks of the week again before we get out of here. Arch Manning. 52-22. We showed you one of his highlights. Was 17-28 for 356 yards and 7 touchdowns. And he was almost our freshman of the week or our high school player of the week because of this. He broke multiple records in this. During this one, he passed both of his uncles, Eli and Peyton Manning, for Newman's passing yards and passing touchdowns records, respectively. That's still with multiple games left. They're in week 6. I think they play 10 to 12 games. So he's still got almost half his season left. Congratulations to Arch Manning. Incredible to do that. Again, Eli, Peyton were not in high school for decades ago at this point. So to break those records that have been that long standing, congratulations to him. Malachi Nelson wins 61-21 over Newport Beach. He was 14 of 20 for 249 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also had 1 rushing touchdown. Dante Moore, who again is like, I swear he is like the Slenderman. You cannot find video on him anywhere, and it's frustrating because I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in this class. But regardless, they win 38-0 over Detroit Renaissance, 13 of 15 passing for 176 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jackson Arnold, mentioned earlier, they won 56-7 over over McKinney. 12 of 22, 193 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, did have 20 rushing yards. Again, if you want to see some of his throws, go check out at Solving Football on Twitter. I believe David posted at least 1, if not 2, from this past week. Christopher Vizina, the Clemson commit. He lost 31-21 to Helena, Alabama. He was 19 of 30 for 224 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, but did add a rushing touchdown. Jaden Rashada the Miami commit, got a win over Oakland here, 16-23, 232 yards and 2 touchdowns. Dylan Lonergan, Alabama commit. We showed you guys one of his highlights last week. Really good throw. He won 24-11 over Lawrenceville, 18-28 for 220 yards, 2 touchdowns, added 67 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Avery Johnson, we showed you his receiving touchdown in this one. He won 63-26 over Maize South. He is a Kansas State commit. If you guys have been watching what Adrian Martinez has been doing the past couple weeks, you should be really excited about Avery Johnson because I think he fits right in that mold, but is a better passer. He was 10 of 17 for 207 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception passing, 130 rushing yards, and 3 rushing touchdowns on top of a 66-yard receiving touchdown. You guys got to see that receiving touchdown. J.J. Cole, we showed his highlight last week. He got a win 34-24 over West Des Moines, 14 of 20 passing, 249 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. Again, had a rushing touchdown last week. We'll do a couple more before we get out of here. Austin Novosad out of Dripping Springs, Texas. He is a Baylor commit. They won 35-0 over Buda Johnson, Texas. 19-32, 291 yards and 5 touchdowns. Ricky Collins, we showed you some of his highlights last week. He won 30-20. I'm sorry, they lost 30-27 to St. James. He is the LSU commit. 12 for 20 passing, 188 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and a rushing touchdown. And last but not least, Pierce Clarkson. We showed you his receiving touchdown. They won, as I mentioned, 49-3 over Servite. He was 6 of 12 passing for 184 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. So that will do it for us tonight on Friday Night Lights, guys. Thank you so much for checking in. Make sure to watch out for the Campus to Canton Twitter feed tomorrow as the High School Player of the Week will drop again. Congratulations to Trey Holly on his amazing performance and amazing accomplishment being the all-time leading rusher in Louisiana. We will see you guys again next week for another episode of Friday Night Lights.